Welcome to the Black Science Podcraft. This is a cross between a podcast and a presentation where you'll have one speaker delivering a concept, a theory, an idea to the other. So the goal is to allow you to critically analyse these points and to see if they hold any weight. So why black science? So there's a few reasons behind the term black science. Stay tuned to find out. There's a lot of points for me in that because, as you know, for me, the side of it you were saying about black people, I didn't agree with at first. I more saw it from it was something that was put on us more than it being
historic.
We see it, yeah. But I did actually watch a movie the other day, and that's why I brought up the lady side of it, because actually it was amongst men and women. I saw something to do with like Nigeria. I can't remember who it was from. I don't want to say the right word. Fuller
Kinti, yeah.
Yeah, Fuller Kinti. That's
Fuller
it.
Kinti, the singer.
Yes.
He's a bad boy.
Fuller Kuti.
No.
But music is a small part of it. But at the same time, I consider music to be effective, like a weapon to inform people. You see, okay, like if I don't play my music now, I wouldn't be sitting here today to talk about the problems of Africa. So my music is like an attraction to inform people.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yeah.
It is the information side of the music that is important. Because I don't really care about history of African music. Other people will write that.
But was that the singer at the time? It was a political person.
Yeah, he was a political
he was
singer.
singer.
Extremely
Right.
political.
So that's right. So I started, and so there was an uprising with the women. So again, when we were speaking about you doing this, I then started looking at it from black people internally and actually us taking more accountability. So from what you're saying is that we need to look at ourselves a bit more and take on what we think about what the term black should be.
Yeah.
And we should be more owners. And there is, like what Naba's saying, I think that we do within certain parts, but overall, coming together collectively, there isn't something. And actually, that is a good point. Maybe there should be something that's more stirred to us looking at ourselves as one more than having the subdivides. But also, like what Naba was saying in regards to having I think there's a prideful thing about having those things brought to the forefront more. So I think your point of what you've said, I think it is definitely something that we should all be looking at more, and I think it's a good and interesting subject, and it'll be interesting actually to get different people's perspectives on what you've said for it to become more of a wider discussion.
I actually now gonna set a task for my youngest daughter to find all the different ways that you can describe black in indigenous languages.
Interesting.
All how many different ways can you say black in African dialects?
Yes.
And then those videos as well, they gave really good context as well, and
There's also a problem with the term Africa and African because also that's not an indigenous word. So in Chi, an example would be Abibi mine, coming from the B, which is the same thing you have in Bidie, which is the word for charcoal, and it's referring to the land of black people. If you come to Yoruba, Ile Adulawo, again you're saying this is the land of black people. If you come to Kikongo, it's called Nsia Bandombe, again referring to the land of black people. When you are using this term African, then you're actually coming etymologically through Latin, and it's a Latin word of obscure origin. Sabi Kim, at the time of Sarah Jedkari Isesi, where he's referring to himself as Sabi Kim, literally Sabi the black man. You would have the term for Usir as Kim Ur, literally translating to the great black one. You would have Aset referred to as Kemet, referring to the female black one. You would have Henenit Kim, another historical figure, and Hepi Kim Imahu, Hepi Kim also referring to as Hepi the black one, Henenit the black one. And then in the so-called pyramid text, you have us being referred to as Kemetiu, again, plural of black people.
It makes
Kem is black.
Kem is black.
But that's it, because I just think Kemet, I automatically, and also even in the Bible or just growing up, that's what it was. It would be Kemet. So then the way that he then broke it down. Yeah. So your points are really valid. My mindset's a little bit more changes in a bit more self-reflective, because I move more like Naba in terms of I do it as a prideful thing, but then that could be actually segregating
I think
the other side of things where, actually,
Like I said, keep the pride.
But we're all like that. Black
we all,
people do that.
To
So
our
yeah,
detriment.
yeah.
To our detriment.
And I think that's a valid point.
I think to the wider world, we're black.
Yeah, we are.
Internally,
we are.
we're Jamaican, Maroon, Uganda, we're African, I think all of these things. But
but we're just black.
for
But
a
we
unified
are,
front
man.
in terms of how we promote, how we vote, how we do our economics,
Yeah.
how we do our community business, that should just be black.
Yeah.
And then internally, we have all of these beautiful differences that weave the tapestry of who we are as a culture.
We gotta remember there's a difference between what a word actually means and what a society or culture associated with, right? It is important to remember that we have the power to control the narrative. You see what I did there?
Yeah.
We have the power to control the narrative, right? It doesn't have to mean anything we don't say it means. We decide that, right? We don't have to be told what it means or accept what somebody else says it means.
Yeah.
Yeah, word, sound, power, we can define that, right? And that is what we have to do. You know, but even in European culture, we have to understand as well that black has not always been a negative. You know, it symbolized and still symbolizes strength, power, elegance, mystery, sophistication, all of these things in European culture.
Yeah.
Right? That's a given. So again, attaching it to a negative is a biased way of looking at it because it's not all that, even in this culture, in this language. Even given that video we just looked at, right? Again, strength, power, elegance, mystery, sophistication, I would argue beauty to a degree.
Environment, it could be nice to what you dress, your car,
all of these things,
all those
slickness,
things. Yeah. But if
stylized,
it's your,
and beauty. You know, women. We're talking about that tall, dark, and handsome. What you thought?
Tall, dark, that's
one
true.
way of looking at it is just wrong, and again, it's just the way we've been conditioned to see it. We've been conditioned to
The
see
negative
the negative
condition.
only side of it.
Yeah.
In Hindu culture, Krishna means black.
Perfect black.
Perfect black, right?
Perfect.
And it did in Chem as well. I can't remember who, but I'll get there. Perfect black, right? In Kemet, we just spoke about that earlier.
Yeah.
Chem refers to black, right? That was titled Black, the Black Land. People will argue about that. That bro that we saw the video of earlier,
Yeah.
he will break that down, why that really is referring to the people, whatever you want to believe. But blackness to them was never a negative thing. It referred to rebirth. It referred to, for example, it represented the process of regeneration, which was associated with Osiris, right, who was also depicted as black or green, because they saw them as interchangeable in representing regeneration, rebirth, renewal.
Yeah.
You understand? That's what black represented to them, right? For them, red was the color of evil.
Yeah.
That's it. Red was evil as far as they was concerned,
Yeah.
right? So black was the great thing, regeneration, red was evil. That's it. You can decide what this stuff means. That's
Which
what
is
we
what
got to
you
remember.
said originally as well. That's what you said.
That's what we got to remember about this stuff, right? And in today, African cultures, black symbolizes spiritual energy, right? Because it's linked to the unseen realm, right? Which is a physics thing as well. I'll get there too, but it's directly linked to the unseen realm, which we all know, black people, very spiritual. Some of the most religious people on the planet right now. We've always been spiritual. Every tribe is basically a different spiritual system,
Yeah.
right? It's literally, right? So that aspect, if anything that symbolizes that aspect, is a good thing, a powerful thing, an important thing. And that's what it represents to us. You know what I mean? The unseen realm and unmanifested potential. It is the color that is supposed to represent all that could be. All that could be, because from the dark came the light, right? In the dark is where we all start, in the womb of our mum, right? There's no light. In the dark is where the seed grows. Right? It only sees the light after it's already become alive and started to change, and then it sees light. That's way after the fact. Darkness was its first home, right? We all live in space with dark. So there's no reason to see objectively as negative, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Some cultures don't see it as negative.
No reason,
There's no reason.
apart from the oppression that we experience.
No, but this is objectively. That's why I said objective. There's no reason to see it objectively, because if we look at objective reality, it is a source of many things. Nothing negative. Now you're talking about something that somebody else has imposed on it.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing.
Not on the color, but of if we're gonna say people, then there is a reason to want to self-identify in a specific way against your oppressor.
Yeah,
that's why I think that's why I think it was important in the last section to mention that there are bits in modern culture where black became common usage for us as a position to what is white.
I'm with you. I agree with that. But the point I'm trying to make now is on the foundation of objective reality. It's what we say it is. Because objectively, there's nothing negative there.
Power is the value we place in it.
Yeah,
exactly. Because objectively, there's nothing negative there.
Yeah.
So after that, we can dress up. People dress up this way.
And all of us came out of the darkness.
And all of us came out of the darkness. So objectively, the planet is flying around in some place that's just dark, apparently, right? Yeah. Objectively, we can't complain or say anything bad about it. So anything after that is what we have decided for many different reasons. Some cultures, I'm pointing out positives, but there are cultures that say negatives too. But I get that just makes the point. People are just making it up as they go along for whatever reason, whatever experience, right or wrong. Just make it up, and that's what we have the power to do. So we have no objective right to say it is this or it is that. It is what we say it is, right? Marcus Garvey, you know, an icon in Pan-African thought, wanted people of African descent to see black as a title of honor rather than one of shame and inferiority. I weren't there, but I can imagine if I was to, even in this time, but let alone in that time, him pushing that message, there will be many black people that are like, no, we'll be fighting that. But
when man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment, the captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own end.
Imagine trying to fight someone trying to give you something to be proud of.
At that point, they'd accepted Negro.
Yeah, I know.
They did,
So I'm saying, even nowadays, you still get that same push.
There'll always be a reason. There'll always be a pushback.
But the point he was trying to do there is what I'm saying now. He understood that, well, we can just decide it is something to be proud of.
Yeah.
And there's nothing, no one can't tell us we're wrong. That's what way back then, he clocked that. Hold on, nah, man, be proud of that, bro. What do you mean? You mad? It's a good thing. It's that simple. It's a choice. It's a choice, right?
In the same way that reclaiming the N-word is?
No.
Isn't it? That's what they say.
It's a funny one, though.
That's what people will say. That's what they'll say. They say, yeah. But
it's a funny one, though, because I do want to talk about that at some point. Right, you know, we may prefer our national titles, but again, where did we get them from? We get them from other people. We didn't decide them. So I think that's actually a bit of a backward step. And arguably, us claiming back is self-determination in its truest sense, which is the point I was trying to make earlier. You know, it is rooted in a social construct, and it is something that we do have to talk about as a people and come to a conclusion of what that actually means. And actually determine what it means as a group, because again, everyone says what they are. We and until we actually accept the need for this conversation, that will never happen, and we'll always be going, some man saying that chicken, some man saying being late. None of this. I remember another guy saying, you know, being part of black culture, just knowing black food, like that's it. As long as you know a couple West Indian dishes, you know what I mean, and you listen to a little Roots, you know you can name two names. That's it. You're in.
It's just reminded me, like, kind of like when you were saying us black people, we laugh at each other. So your story growing up as a child, there's a lot of that going on internally amongst us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling from all the different separations.
100%. If we're honest, we all know this. This is the funny thing. Everything being said in this, because we all know. We all know. They ain't saying nothing we don't know. We just don't like thinking about it, talking about it, because it makes us feel like we lost. And, you know, what can I say? So, here's my question now, though. If we don't like black, if not black, then what? What do we call ourselves? Or do we not call ourselves anything because we want to stick to our individual titles? And my brother, Mikel the Energy, he had a good discussion about this, and he's got an idea about what should be called. You
know, we've gone through a transition from being Negro, colour, and to black was actually a term that was really used to lift us up out of another political agenda that made us look even more inferior. The term black was an empowering one, but that's the last 100 years.
It's outdated now.
Yeah, it is. It's run its course, and because we have access to world knowledge, because the motherland is so accessible, because repatriation is a real thing, because, you know, we are leaders of industries and things like that, we now have a much greater opportunity to label ourselves in a way that really shows the majesty of who we are. I say people of nature, because that immediately references everything that we boast about, the power that we say we have, the origins we say we have, the glory we talk about of ourselves, the potential we always sing and praise ourselves about, can be understood when you understand that we are people of nature.
But I think it's such a long term.
It is. I'm just saying that's what I use. I'm not saying it's the best one.
No, I mean, I think all of these things are up for discussion. I just think when we start discussing the idea of really everybody agree, I don't think the idea of everybody agreeing to a term, I think, is unrealistic. I think it's more realistic to unify around the term black, because it's already been in usage. It means so much to so many people than it is to kind of bring new terms. I think people nature is a beautiful thing you might want to call your network, your community. But I think it's unrealistic for anybody in this modern time to link under some of these new terms that are coming up. Because I think in the same way that you described earlier, people of nature, someone goes, well, I don't want to be about nature, I want to be about the city. that made me less black. So I think black does what it needs to do for us in a capitalist European society, yes. But I think how we self-identify as family, as individuals, as families, as communities, as wider ethnic groups, those things are all important. Those things can be done after we accept the will. I think although the discussion's important, I think it's even unrealistic for people to even say I don't like the term black. I get told it from other maroon chiefs not to call or identify myself as black, and I always said actually, but not identifying as black alienates me from most of our people, so I wouldn't do that.
Don't stop, keep going. Don't stop, don't stop, keep going. Don't stop, keep going. Don't stop, don't stop, keep going. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, keep going. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, keep going. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, keep going. Don't stop, keep going. Still grinding for the chips. I come from the clear, but you can find them in the bricks. Me, I was the
So yeah, I hear you what you're saying about. I agree, like fundamentally, but my thing is, all right, cool. You don't want to be called black, then come up with a name that everybody would be cool with.
But I think even the people that don't like the term black, so you've got the Moors, for example, in America, they don't like the term black, but they'll agree that there's no growth without the extreme blackness. So they agree to the scientific term of the use of the word black as a denomination of nothingness, or the birthplace, or the void of things. But in terms of as a describer, they don't like it.
But why do you think they don't like it?
That's the negative connotations.
I would say that, but I don't know. Is that why?
To be fair, I would argue that Noble Jew Ali was using it at a point which we hadn't agreed on black yet. We were still using Negro, nigger, coloured at that point. And I think we was moving towards black. This is like in the 40s and the 30s.
So basically, man are just reiterating what my man was saying.
I think at that point was when we was having really real discussions institutionally about what we should describe ourselves and what we should call ourselves.
Which is what we're doing here now.
There's chiefs now.
So it just
Chief
it was just not
it
wasn't conclusive. It was like man wasn't certain what we should call ourselves.
I don't think you can be conclusive, because you've got at that point you had the Moorish Science Temple, you had the Hebrew Israelites, you had the Pan Africans. All of them had different religious persuasions, and actually black became a term that they could all use. So actually, let's all use the term black. And I think now when people work against it, it's almost like a clickbait thing.
Yes, I agree.
Where it's a discussion that people like to hear. But actually, I don't think the prejudice towards the term black is anywhere near as prevalent as the discussions might have us believe.
But it's also a thing, because I had a client. He was an Asian man, and he asked me like, why do black people call themselves black? Why don't you call themselves African? So it is a question. It is something that
other races will say that. This is what I said about before.
So
it is you call yourself black, you don't link yourself to a specific history, a language. You don't do that, and I think that's what other people say. How can you call yourself black?
Yeah, so that's an
Other
argument.
races
to
will say
present.
where you come from. Then,
But this
that's
is why for me
That's
this
beginning of
is
a good conversation.
That's
Yeah.
why this discussion is important, because this is what I'm trying to pen down why we do. We intrinsically know, and I'm saying it's in our genes. Like my brother said, in Chem we did. We've always referred to Africa as the land of black people. We understand the power of taking a tower that unifies us all. That is actually rooted in a truth, a certain truth, right?
Yeah.
Because we like facts. Whether we think about spiritual, we actually are very fact based in the way we have our spiritual systems. As much as we've been taught that we just it's all supernatural logic. No, it's we all have a logic that's based on actual facts. So calling ourselves black people is because we're fucking very close to black, bro. You know, you gotta think how dark people can be in Africa when so very close to black. So it's an objective truth, and it unified us.
And this is the only. I think this is the pushback that I did have when we spoke about this. And I think it was a pushback when I've seen discussions around the use of the word chem for an empire, and this is when people are all using their own languages. Chem Nubia didn't call themselves Nubians.
No.
The Commissions called them Nubians. They was called the Hekakasut, or there was called something else. My point is that when we're self-identifying internally, I think as on the continent, everyone could call themselves black, but because of the language differences, it's not one word. And I think what we're arguing for now is to use one specific term, which is why I liked at the end of the first one, the idea of understanding all the different ways that black people have vocalized the term, like chem. We've got all these different terms. I think that's more powerful. I would encourage my daughter to say, okay, how did the Akan speak? How did the Twi? How did the Gar? How did the different dialects? Rather than, I think
I understand what you're saying.
This is saying that we should use the English languages as the lingua franca globally. Yeah. I don't think even I'd be more of an advocate for us learning indigenous languages and using those ways to even communicate with each other.
Yeah. I understand.
This is ambitious, this is idealistic, and maybe unrealistic. So that's why I wouldn't fight the term black. Yeah. But I would definitely say I would prefer you to use the Ugandan term for black. Like so I would prefer to use the Twi term for black. So we don't greet each other as black people, as a unified, just BLACK. Your term for black, my term for black, in my language.
And having that understanding amongst us all, rather than just trying to fit into. And I get that as well.
I know what you're saying, but we get into, for me, this is why I picked this, because we're getting hemmed up on the term black, as in that language, that exact word, BLACK in English, as opposed to what it's describing. Because the point for me, this whole presentation, is that when we use it, it's not really the specific linguistic terminology, it's what it's describing.
But that is the powerful.
Point. Chem is only powerful.
More is just a Spanish word for black. Yeah, but we say the Moors. We don't say the black.
I'm with you.
Yeah. We say the Moors.
That's actually word sound power even better, because it's the Moors. It's like that's us. We're more of rather than black.
And I think, I don't think it makes black less powerful. I'm just saying that when you look historically, we use the word term Moor. We use the term maroon. Maroon. We never called ourselves maroons. It's a term that we took on and gave power to. So you're right, it's whatever we give power to. I just say that our dialect and our language is how we think.
Yeah, I understand.
And I think we use the British language, we use the English language, and I think black is a powerful term for us. I think, though, it's less powerful than our terms for black.
I get you. I'm with you that we should understand our dialects, but in this whole terminology, what we need to get away from which word we're using as opposed to what the word means. That's what I'm trying to... The point is what the word actually means, right? So there's connotations about what the word means. That's our problem with this English language of black, and the fact it's not our language too. I agree with that. Okay. But the actual issue is what the word means. We're taking it to mean things, and that's the problem we have with it. So it doesn't matter what dialects we're using it in if we still take that meaning from it. If we take that, if we take chem But we still have negative connotations of blackness.
But when you're saying
matter.
chem, or when you're using the words or the dialect of it, won't be even seen in that same negative
This is why it's important. That's why, because when you say
that's
chem,
because you're using your
when you say
logic. No,
chem,
I'm with you. I know
there's
what
no
you're
negative
saying.
connotations.
I
When you
get
say
it.
more,
I
there
get
are
it.
negative
No,
connotations.
I get it. I get
we
it.
use the term.
No, I get it.
Black,
But hear what I'm saying.
We attribute negative.
I get it.
because it was
No, I get it.
imposed on us for difference, like from internally and externally. That's what I'm feeling. Yeah.
But the way you neutralize this is what I'm trying to say here. We just need to remember that whether you say chem or you say black, you're describing a particular thing which isn't negative, as opposed to allowing the word to have a negative connotation to avoiding it. I'm going to avoid that and only use this word because
So what's your suggestion? You saying that we call ourselves black and we're happy?
No,
and content
I'm
with
saying
that?
it's nothing wrong with the term black because there's an objective reality that it refers to, not a connotative reality.
Yeah.
Right, and that is what is important. It is good to learn the languages, and then we should call ourselves by our own tongues, yes. But we shouldn't allow even an English term or a Chinese version of black or Taiwanese version of black, none of these,
or even ours.
Anyone's version of black, because there's an objective reality to what it describes, what we literally are, and the fact that there's nothing negative about that. When we allow ourselves to feel like in a particular language is bad, our brain don't understand. You know, our brain works with association. If we associate blackness with negativity in any tongue, right, then it doesn't matter. If we associate another tongue with that same term, then those negative connotations transfer. You can say you don't think the chem is linked to the English word for black all you want. But if black is negative in your head and chem relates to black, then chem relates to negative. There's no way around it. So the only real cure is that to understand it's only negative to those who have decided it's negative. I haven't decided it's negative because I know what it is objectively.
So, and I think the objective reality is good in dialogue, but I think when you're trying to be realistic, there's a reason why chem is powerful. There's a reason why more is powerful. There is a reason why black is powerful. But I would argue there's a reason why the English language is less powerful than these other terms that we will use in English. We'll use kemet we will use it. We don't say we call it the black land because that's not. We don't. We say kemet.
Yeah, kemet.
We say more. We say we use these terms in the English language, and they do denote black, but we use them and they have a different, more powerful connotation. Now, that's not to say that black doesn't have a powerful connotation, and I think actually to repurpose the small minorities, I actually don't think. I think you're preaching to the converted in a sense. Where I don't think there's a lot of people. I think it's a discussion that I think we see a lot, but I don't think there's a lot of people, percentage-wise, of black people uneasy with the term black. I don't think there is. I think there's a lot of people who speak for attention's sake around the term because it's an interesting term. But I would say that the language, the English language, that has negative connotations because it was a language, it was a form of communication that was forced upon us. So for that reason alone, I would say that any other term that means black other than the BLACK, this is why I wanted to spell our podcast BLAK. I wanted to call it blacks. I wanted to spell it differently. Purposefully. That's why I said podcraft and not podcast. Because I think sometimes you'll get academics in the 80s that started to use the word K instead of C in African.
Yes, the K instead of C. To
reclaim an aspect of actually no, that's what you gave us. We're changing a one letter in it to give it a specific power. And I said earlier, is it similar to using the N-word? No, it's different. It's completely different, and it is completely different. But it's not in terms of the objective cultural significance of the term. The nigger term has got negative connotations. Always. Now in hip hop culture, we've tried to reclaim it. We've tried to do all of these things, and I would argue it's a similar argument in terms of the terminology. Now there's scientific significance to the void, to blackness that you won't find in the term nigger. You won't find it.
So that makes it completely different.
It still has a meaning in the dictionary. It was still used, but still, negro was still a term for black. It's still a Spanish term for black. The negative connotations got heaped on because of our treatment in the West. So language and oppression is always going to be the reason why we will have issues.
And that's where the
any term.
That's where the negative connotation comes from, because we have got that history as well.
It's the history, and I think objective reality that you're speaking to tries to dissolve the term black from its historical context.
Very recent history, imposed
No, of course,
history.
of course.
So this is why I'm saying this, because I think that is the misperspective in it all. This idea that black is negative in the ways you described, this context that you're saying we can't get away from. I think that's the biggest lie.
Yeah, but
I think that is a conditioned lie that we've been taught to think of as an unavailable truth. I remember pointing it out to some Turkish guy in some, I can't remember the context, but I said, like, we were watching something. I said, you know how they made black look bad there? He said, yeah, but that's because, black relates more to evil, white relates more to, that's just how it is. I said, no, that's because that's what you've been taught. So it's so accepted. People just think it's an objective truth.
Wow.
I'm saying that's the big deception.
Yeah.
And I'm saying the only cure for that, because it's not the word, the English word, it's the way we think of blackness. I'm saying it isn't the word. You're saying there's more power in Kem.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's why we brought up Kem.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's not how we view blackness.
Yeah.
It's how we view the oppressor's language. It's how we view the oppressor's language.
I hear you. But I'm saying I disagree. It isn't. I'm saying blackness itself, whether you call it black or Kem, blackness has a negative connotation to it. This colour, in a certain tone, it has a negative connotation. We've seen it. We've grown up with cartoons with it. It's not the word.
We say the word more. We think of black people, but we don't think of the negative connotations attached to black people. We don't.
So it's not. That's because we named ourselves.
Which means it's more about the value, the negative connotation that we've placed on that term black. For us to use the word Kem and more means that blackness does not have a negative connotation for us, because we can say the term black in other languages and it mean decadence and it mean power.
What you said,
like how the Ethiopians say, well, niggas means king.
Bro, I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying I disagree. I'm saying it isn't the word that we think is negative purely. It is blackness itself. We have been conditioned. Globally, many cultures have this conditioning as well.
No, that darkness is more, all of those terms.
I hear you, bro. I hear you, but I disagree.
There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food. But he left.
If there was a line in the sand,
they lived in the
attic,
or the basement,
where would you stand in the house or the field?
And they loved their master more than the master loved himself.
House or the
They
field,
would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master did.
A time for everything.
Labourism Boot Camp is a program we've created for 8 kids, secondary school kids preferably. And basically we teach strength and conditioning, we teach boxing, fundamentals, meditation, which includes breath work and mindfulness, and nutrition. We just teach them some things that we had to learn in later life, and it would have been nice if someone had told us a bit earlier. Now, it's a community funded program, raise money to run this and pay for this. We give them a whole bunch of kit. They all get some gloves, they all get wraps, they all get a medicine ball, exercise mat, skipping rope, and they all get a resistance band. They even get some more stuff from sponsors that have supported this boot. And it's all done in Brixton Street Gym, the original sponsor. If anybody's interested, please get in contact, pypbootcamp@gmail.com if you want to try and get involved in the next one, because we're going to keep running this, try and keep it a consistent program. You're saying different words, people are not going to see that as negative. I disagree. I'm saying whatever black is in India, whatever they call it there, it's a negative thing. Wherever other people, other cultures, and we have been conditioned globally in recent history to think of black and darkness as negative. I'm saying it's not the word, the actual state itself.
I do agree with that.
Right? That's what I'm saying, right? And that is the fundamental problem. If we didn't see it that way, then we wouldn't care so much about the English definition of the word. And that's what I'm saying. You're saying different. I know.
First, I don't think we care that much in the first instance.
Okay, I hear that.
And secondly, I'd say that because we've got a multitude of black terms that mean something else culturally that we all take pride in, that debunks the state that we all view black as negative connotations, because we will use Kemet, we'll even say Egypt and mean black, we'll say more, we mean black, so, and we take power and pride in
you know where I'm going to disagree with that point there,
terms.
Right? You know I'm going to disagree, because I disagree that is an accepted thing. The Kem and the more thing is always debated whether they're actually black. People argue with me to that day that who really established whether the Kemet really means it's not accepted, even amongst black people, that Kemet actually refers to black people. The argument about black land has really landed with a lot of black people, and a lot of black people don't even claim that culture. Because they're Abrahamic of faith and religion, they don't even claim that culture. They don't really, and they listen to people that do claim it. Like you don't even know what you're talking about. You're in boo. And similarly with Moors, sorry, let me finish. And similarly with Moors, the same thing happens. There's a debate whether they were really black or were they Arab or were they mixed. It's not a clear cut thing as you're describing it. Like everyone knows Moors black. Not everyone. It's definitely not accepted.
None of these things are clear cut. What I'm saying is that I would argue that there's a higher percentage of people that will accept the positive connotations to the term black and would not argue against being called black for it because it's got negative connotations. I'm saying that I think that it's more a clickbait.
I agree with that point.
Discussion
I didn't disagree
than
with
it
that
is a realistic, and I think that's why it's important when you raise objective reality. It's important to view it without these things. But I think actually when we look at other terms that we do use, not necessarily on a daily basis, but even to say that most people don't see Egyptians or Kem as black, I think that's an outdated view of ourselves. I think even to say that people will see the Moors as not black and argue against it, I think that type of ignorance, that level,
very common. It's very consistent.
The level of ignorance, those people are not going to be troubled by this type of discussion. Do you understand? They're not.
I'm just saying that to say that those terms do not, as you suggested, as if these are terms that everybody accepts as black, and when we use them, there's a lot of power in the blackness behind those titles.
But there is a lot.
I'd argue that most people do know that
in the way you describe,
and it is seen as powerful.
Yeah,
and it is seen as something. Yeah, I do see. I mean,
I think more people will view Kemet as a black clan and Moors as a black set of people than will say, I don't want to be called black.
Do you remember when Kevin Hart said something about Egyptians being black and then the whole of Egypt went on?
That's the Arabs.
Went on to him. Yeah. But what black people was defending him? Saying, no, he's right. That's black people thing. Did you see anyone doing that?
I did.
I didn't.
I
didn't see no one.
I don't know.
That is not an argument black people have. Depending
on your algorithm,
there might be someone like you, someone like me. Yeah, I'm not talking about. We're not the normal black person. I'm telling you, in my whole family, I would argue. Maybe my generation. But pretty much all Ugandans in Uganda, I would argue, they're not right.
Our parents' generation,
black people.
Many in our parents' generation would say that at best Egyptians weren't black. I would argue 50, most people under 50 don't hold those ignorant. Most people that grow up in social media or in this woke society, I don't think hold on to them outdated views. And I think black. The idea of being black is a negative thing. I also think that's an outdated view. I think it's always an important discussion.
I hear it, but you see why I think it is an important discussion, because because there's another video I need to show you on this point. As much as you might say that it's an outdated conversation, what I said about my experience in school, that still goes on today. We are very colorist.
Yeah.
Right? So this negativity attached to black is something we say we don't have,
and we can say that
we say we've grown up and we showed and we changed.
That's lost history.
It's not more people.
That's lost history now, because they don't know about Kemet, they don't know about the Moors, they don't. So again, that's that whole social thing going.
Forget the history. I'm saying we are very colorist now, right? I'm not that point there. I want to really hem. We are anti-black. Blackness, our blackness. We are anti-black. Now you cannot argue with me and tell me that sentiment does not exist in every black community everywhere in the world.
We're not anti.
I'm not talking about the name. I'm not talking about the name. I'm talking about blackness. I'm talking about being dark skinned. I'm talking about being colorist.
Most people, when they watch the news and hear stabbing, they say it's a black. Even us.
I'm not talking about that.
So what I'm saying is that when you say it's what we associate it with, less than the use of the word, we will have negative connotations on our own selves as it relates to criminality, as it relates to all of these things. I would agree with that now. There is still a strong proportion of us that when they hear certain things, I hope that's not bad.
Are we colorist?
We had this discussion the other day.
I don't think
you don't think we're colorist?
Yeah, of course we are.
So this is
nowhere near as much.
Nothing to do with as when I'm talking about now. We are colorist, right? Because we have a disdain for darkness and blackness in and of itself. Forget a word, forget a title.
I think
this is my point. That is no, but this is a fact.
We're getting more conscious of ourselves.
No one can argue with that. We all know as a people we are colorists. We know that. We know that. I can show you a video that will make that point right now, but I don't need to. You think you've seen it before. You know, you've seen that Van Banter guy going around asking black boys what kind of girls they like. None of them want a black girl, right? They all, I want a lighty, I want a Spanish thing, I want a something other thing. I don't want a black thing.
Yeah. What kind of girls are you into? No dark skins.
I don't really fuck with black girls.
Not too dark.
Not them black girls like Sharkeishas.
Black things, I can't really run that way still.
Yeah. You understand? This is not new. This is not.
I don't think self-hatred is new. I don't think self-hatred is new.
Right. So you brought up the term self-hatred, but the point I am making is we have a disdain for blackness. So it's not about a word. It's not about the English word. Doesn't matter if you call it chem and all this other ways we're getting around it. But the point I make has got nothing to do with these titles.
When I say disdain,
it's got to do with how
but
we
it's
view
other
darkness.
people view it as well. So when we're thinking of us collectively,
how we view darkness, not a term, not a word. The thing itself. This is my point. The thing itself.
We've got a negative way because of our condition. We've got a negative way we view ourselves.
And what attribute of ourselves? Which attribute of ourselves?
Our darkness.
That's my point. Yeah. So it's not about the word. It's about the thing the word describes. That's my point.
See, but we go out. I think we go out of the word. I think we go out of the identifying and more about the culture of cognitive dissonance, the culture of self-hatred, the culture of self-fulfilling prophecies is beyond the color. We dislike ourselves because of how we've been treated. How our experience in the West is the reason why we have self-hating, self-limiting views of ourselves, and that goes beyond the color. I would say
you're saying that, and I understand what you're saying, but
I think it all goes hand in hand. You can't put one aside from the other. I think it all interlinks.
100% does. But you still can talk about one aspect in particular, and our darkness is an aspect we have disdain for as a culture, culturally. I can say I don't, but that doesn't change the culture that I'm coming from, right? The reality of that culture and what it thinks and feels.
You still got bleaching creams that's probably doing high.
We all know it. We all know it, right? We laugh at it, and this is
still straightening out their hair.
This is what annoys me about this part of it. This is what annoys me about things like bleaching, right? This is the thing that proper annoys me about things like bleaching. We point out somebody that bleaches, right? And we say, "Oh, something wrong with you." Make fun of them. You're dumb. You're mad. As if they're an individual that's just done this random one thing on their own. They've come to this conclusion, I want to be lighter, and they're just mad and they're on their own. When the culture has taught them it's better to be lighter. It takes a village. Everyone has
but we do exactly the same thing when a black person, when sisters see a black man with a white woman, they get that look, and it cuts both ways. We have these self-disdaining views of ourselves. We've also got kind of silent things that we're supposed to do as black people.
By the way. Love who you want to love. Sorry, I don't do that.
But let me just finish that.
But they look to me like, so they feel that vibe off of themselves.
Yeah,
I'm like,
they look at you like, I'm sorry, man.
It's not necessarily sorry. There's an uncomfortability around it. And I definitely notice that as a black woman when there's interracial relationship. But I love who you want to love.
That look. But let me just finish that, because like I say, this is a big thing for me. That idea that it's this individual and we should laugh and poke fun, that individual's weak. That individual just didn't have pride, that their parent didn't raise them right, or they just got bullied.
Some of those things can be true within
that's not the
just because we're saying
I don't care
it.
if it's true.
Just because we're saying. Okay.
My point is, I don't care if it's true because they're only behaving that because they're reflecting the culture that brought them up.
Taught them up. So that's when you're saying again. That's when you're saying again. We have to accept what we're putting out.
Yeah. And when people do that and they point at that one and say you're just weak or you're mad, how are you bleaching? We'll be blaming them as if we don't understand how our culture functions. It's a defensive technique. It's deflection. People don't want to act like it's got anything to do with them, and I wouldn't absolutely. But they've participated to some degree in this cultural way of viewing things. We all have.
Yeah.
And that's why you have manifestations like that.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So for me, it's like a complete misunderstanding, a complete misreading of what's going on, and it's like a
judgment.
It's a way to. I'm going to evade blame out of this. It's got nothing to do with me. It's just you. You're an individual. No, it's our culture. And we don't want to acknowledge our culture's produced that.
Yeah.
Well, this is
that
the
person
thing.
didn't produce that. Our culture's produced that.
When you're...
check out the Ndinkra Symbols Connect the Dots Drawing Book series. We have 4 books in the series, all with 33 Ndinkra symbols turned into Connect the Dots puzzles. You have the name of the symbol, the phonetic spelling of the symbol, the meaning of the symbol, and the proverb attached to the symbol, because they usually have one. You can catch them all on Amazon. Enjoy, fun for the kids.
We are the fire truck. We are the front line. We are the warrior class.
Free.
We are the warrior. We are the future.
Who made that one? The Star made that one.
When your culture, like, I would argue that culture is supposed to protect you from adverse effects of your environment, and what we've got now is a deaf culture. So most of the things that we call cultural are actually limiting, unhealthy. So it's not, you can't take pride in a culture that tries to kill you, like with this music, with its health, with its the bleaching, like all so many things that we call cultural in our lifestyle right now kills us.
Yeah,
we've got a deaf culture. So actually we can't celebrate a lot of what we'd call black culture now.
And this 100% right, and that's exactly,
and this is the point of black science. This is demystify the things that should be celebrated, 100%. Because actually the bleaching thing does speak to a
cultural,
wider cultural conditioning that's happened.
And that's why I am going back to what I'm saying. We need to actually deal with our feelings towards blackness, not the word. It's not the word, not the English word.
I get that.
Right? It's what it's describing we have an issue with. We have accepted what it is describing. Whatever word you use, we've accepted that what it's describing, this color, we've accepted this as a negative, and it affects us to our own detriment, because we've accepted that it culturally, and it affects us to our own detriment, where we do behaviors like that, where we want to run way to every other race, where we want to mention that 20%, that 2% Indian blood I got in me, because that makes me somehow cool. Like I need to let everybody know that I ain't just black, you know. I got something else, you know. I got my auntie this, that. I need
religions that we choose to.
Yeah, I need to. I can't be them. Nah, do you know what I mean? Can't be the African. That's a bit mad. Do you know what I'm saying? Even just say African tradition. Judge. Mad. You understand? It's all linked to this idea about distance yourself from as much as you can. Whatever's with it, whether you call it bleaching, the subject of interracial. Even this just cultural lifestyles, even the way we dress, any way possible to distance yourself. This is what we have as a culture.
But I think also
this is what we have.
We are also, as black people, as melanated people, as African-centered people, we are still the most oppressed. And I think it also speaks to some of the ways we view ourselves. Also speaks to the way we interact with wider society.
100. All right. See what? Yeah. Now, I'm not going to be like a Kanye, this is all the choice type thing. That's 100%. We are very oppressed, yeah? But you see what it is? You can't do nothing about the oppression, right? Because the other people are going to treat you how the other people are going to treat you. That you have no power over that, right? So my thing is, forget the external oppression. Forget the external force against you. Forget the external, because that's going to be there. That's a given, right? We have to go internal. We are the first generation that really has the freedom to think like that. Up until our generation, last 2 generations, maybe the generation before me, the oppression was mad. Survival was a win. If you could just get your kids up to age and they can have kids and maybe get them through schooling,
I still feel like that
and
now.
Maybe make them a bit better off than you were, for a black person pretty much anywhere in the world, that was a win. This idea, generational wealth and all them type of talks, but that's not really a goal. The goal is survival, right? Get through this life without too much going wrong.
Yeah.
And that was enough. But recent history has been mad for black people, wherever we are. It's been mad. Let's just.
But that's still like now. That's very relevant now to us raising children in this time currently.
What I would argue is now, unlike any other time, we have a lot more access. We have a lot more options.
Yeah.
We don't have to be a certain way. We don't have to move a certain way. The long and short of it is that we can network. I can communicate with pretty much any country in Africa right now, in America. I can link up. I can do business. We have so much more options. We are the first that have that.
Yeah, that's very true.
So
yeah, we can be a truly Pan-African generation
if we want.
Together collectively
really,
in different places.
We can really move around the African world and do business in a way that no other generation before us has been able to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So
because of the technology we've got.
This is what Selassie said. Bring it back.
So all
home.
the oppression that led to these ways of being before, that led to our coping strategies, our coping mechanisms, our culture it's a bit dysfunctional, right? They still exist, but we can undo that. We are the first to have that opportunity. We can actually undo that. We have the space, we have the breathing room, But I can't remember who said it, but someone said that maybe their goal was to make us such a way that they don't need to do nothing no more. We'll stay like that. There's a better way of saying it, but what I'm talking about, right? And that's basically the state that we're in. But that doesn't have to be that way. We can just change. We have the option now, but many of us are just running with it because that's what we know, innit? That's just how it's been. So we're sticking with our coping strategies, again, running away from blackness, because before it's not going to get you nowhere, right? Speaking your African tongue ain't going to benefit you. I need to learn English, right? Dressing your traditional African clothes is not going to get you nowhere. I need to sew because I need to get a job. I need them to hire me, right? So I need to dress a certain way. I can't have my hair out. They're not going to hire me. I need to cover my hair. I need to have that straight. I actually have to.
Yeah.
If I want to feed my kids,
and
I want a bank loan.
I can see that in the workplace now.
Definitely.
That's less now. It's less now. It still exists, but it's less now. That's the thing. We have more options now. But now I think we're doing it all by choice. We're vastly more by choice. No, I honestly think some don't want the stress of trying to represent it, and it's just the stress. It's not that you can't. It's not that you won't. It's not that you can't make the money.
I think
you can't.
Conformity.
Right, we want to just conform now. Whereas before we had to.
No, but this is
there's a slight.
It's just easy to.
There's a level of ignorance that's, for me, there's a level of ignorance that we have in our people that says that conformity is the done thing without a specific choice. I think people are subconsciously conforming.
Yeah. This is a human thing.
Unconsciously conforming to cultural norms.
There's a subtle choice
really
they know they're making.
Culture is destructive.
No,
so people are subconsciously accepting, limiting unhealthy cultural norms and taking pride in it.
I agree.
That we've got the baddies show. We've got all kind of different.
Taking pride in it. You know why they take pride in it as well? Because it makes them money. The society has been set up to reward us for doing this stuff.
Yeah, it's
right. And brother, we can talk about that another day, but we will know what I'm saying, right? We've been paid to behave this way, so we behave this way to get paid, and then we put up the people that get the money. Because we want to get the money, but how did they get the money? By behaving this way. So we behave this way, right?
Did I say that?
No, but that is basically what it is. It's an analogy when people say that. It's selling your image. It's selling your spirit to the highest bidder, right? I'm going to give you my spirit, and my spirit will be represented a certain way because it pays me to do it, not because that's really what I want to represent, right? It pays.